General Hospital spoilers tease that Michael will soon return to Port Charles, and this time, it's not just a heartfelt reunion, but a clear declaration of war against those who betrayed him. Betrayed his family, and trampled on everything he once held sacred. During his recovery in Baden-Baden after the explosion that nearly took his life, Michael didn't just heal physically. He observed, collected information, and prepared, not for a tearful homecoming or forgiveness, but for a calculated takedown of everything he deems deceitful, opportunistic, and dangerous. The first person to face the fury he has bottled up inside will be Drew Kane, the uncle he once trusted,
who used Michael's absence to worm his way into Willow's life and dismantle the family Michael fought so hard to protect. This return is anything but gentle.
Michael is no longer the man of quiet conversations and emotionally driven decisions. He is now a warrior, armed with a plan, evidence, and the wisdom forged in pain. He won't need to shout to be heard. What he carries is powerful enough to shake all of Port Charles. Every step he takes, every word he speaks, every move he makes will make people wary. The power he's about to wield isn't just a personal vendetta, it's a restructuring of order, where liars will no longer have a place. Michael has carefully calculated every strike. Not with fists, but with truth. He holds a video showing Drew and Willow's blatant betrayal, not only a crushing emotional blow but also damning proof that can turn the tide in the legal battle to come. That video isn't just a tool to win custody of Wiley, a boy whose mother was once manipulated by a cult and now lives another lie, but a weapon to expose Drew's true face to the entire community. With the nurse's ball approaching, the timing couldn't be more perfect. Michael doesn't need a press conference or a long-winded speech, he'll strike at the right moment, in the right place. Unveiling the footage in front of all those who once trusted and supported Drew. Under the stage lights, as everyone still clings to the belief that Drew is a symbol of stability and redemption, Michael will force them to see the truth. He won't lash out in anger, he'll let the images, the audio, and the undeniable facts speak for themselves. From that moment, Drew will be nothing, no candidacy, no respect, no Willow, and certainly no hope of reclaiming the power he once held. But Michael won't stop there. He knows Drew didn't act alone. He's had time to track down those who aided, covered for, or enabled him. From shady financial transactions under the guise of charity to secret meetings with politicians and media figures, Michael has documented it all through the network Carly helped him build overseas. And now, every name, every connection will be dragged into the light. No one who sided with Drew will remain safe. Michael no longer speaks of justice in soft, moralistic tones. He acts. He will not allow his son, Wiley, to grow up in a world where lies are masked with polite smiles, where relationships are exploited for fame. He won't allow Willow, even as the mother of his child, to keep living in the illusion that her love with Drew is something lasting. And he absolutely won't allow Drew, the man who betrayed the Corinthos family, to sit comfortably as if nothing happened. Michael's return to Port Charles isn't to continue the past. It's to end it. Every move he makes, working with lawyers behind the scenes, striking quiet deals with Ned and Tracy, serves one goal: to erase Drew's influence in both personal and political spheres. And when that happens, nothing will save Drew from collapse. This isn't impulsive revenge. It's a cold confirmation that Drew's chapter is over, and the one writing the new chapter is Michael, with resolve, maturity, and a heart no longer easily manipulated by anyone but himself. Port Charles is about to enter a new era of chaos. But this time, Michael Corinthos won't be a bystander. He's the focal point. He's rewriting the rules. And Drew, along with everything he represents, is just the final fragment of a crumbling, fake empire. Michael's dramatic return is shaking Port Charles to its core, triggering an unprecedented chain reaction that's disrupting every plan, relationship, and power dynamic in ways no one could foresee. His reappearance is not just the return of a central character, it's the start of a political, familial, and personal earthquake. In a matter of seconds, as he walks into the nurse's ball, into the lights and the buzzing crowd, he drops a bombshell no one is prepared for. From the moment his voice echoes, from the fire in his eyes, it's clear, this is no longer the old Michael. He has become a force, a man who rose from betrayal and loss, who quietly resurrected like a smoldering fire, now carrying the cold, sharp intensity of someone betrayed by blood. And back to reshape everything in his own image. Those who thought Michael would always be weak or passive are stunned to see him seizing control, flipping the board, making Drew, Willow, Nina, and even backroom power players like Valentine, Martin, and Port Charles politicians, all tread carefully. The biggest shock comes when the video is publicly shown at the nurses' ball, shattering Drew's carefully crafted image and leaving Willow no place to hide. In an instant, every gaze shifts. Every whisper becomes a judgment, and the facade of civility collapses. This isn't just strategy, it's a masterstroke of retaliation. Michael wields the strongest weapon. Truth revealed at the perfect time, in the perfect place, to the perfect audience. Producers choosing to reintroduce Michael with a new actor only heightens the shock and madness. It's not just Michael the character who's changed, it's how audiences must now reframe everything they thought they knew about him. The new actor brings a different energy, icy, mature, dangerous, and irresistibly magnetic. The way he stands tall in the crowd, the unblinking stare he gives Drew, the deliberate steps he takes as if dragging a storm behind him, all signal that Michael hasn't just returned, he's returned to dominate. A madness is spreading across Port Charles. Old alliances are fracturing. Solid plans are falling apart, all because of a man everyone once underestimated. Jason and Tracy are no longer keeping their distance. Carly is no longer hesitating. Ned is reevaluating everything. And Willow, even she can't deny that the man standing before her is no longer the Michael she once knew. He's been burned by truth, and now he's blazing like a new force altogether. A new Michael. Unforgiving. Unflinching. And unafraid of losing anything anymore. So what happens after the nurses' ball? Who will survive the storm named Michael? Will Drew lose everything, career, reputation, love? Will Willow come crawling back in regret? Or be swept up in the hurricane of the husband she once abandoned? And the audience, after being stunned by that pressure-filled entrance, must now brace for a new era. One where Michael is no longer just someone's son or grandson, but the man who rewrites the rules of Port Charles, with truth, power, and pain, now forged into his weapon. Things have gone further than ever before. And Michael, with a new face, new stride, and new presence, is leading a revolution. Michael is closer than ever to the moment he spent months preparing for, the moment he will destroy Drew. Not with fists, not with loud rage, but with cold silence and meticulously calculated counterstrikes, planned since the day he lay motionless after the explosion. Michael is no longer the quiet man who endured everything. No longer the boy who believed that blood would always protect blood. He is now a relentless force, a silent storm that has been building, little by little, only to erupt like fate itself. And the storm has only one target, Drew, the man who betrayed him shamelessly, who stole everything he held dear, his family, his honor, his love. Michael's obsession isn't just rooted in Drew's betrayal with Willow, it's in how everything unfolded. As if Drew had been waiting for the moment Michael fell to take his place and seize all that once mattered to him. Michael cannot accept that someone who once called him nephew, who held his hand through the darkest times, would stab him in the back when he was at his weakest. And from the moment he realized that truth, Michael stopped being a victim. He became the strategist, planning step by step, move by move, detail by detail, preparing for the moment he would end Drew's career and reputation entirely. Michael's actions are not impulsive. They are strategic. He's met with lawyers, secured evidence, and worked with old allies in silence. He's quietly contacted Ned and Tracy to piece together the full scope of Drew's recent shady financial dealings. He knows the video he holds won't just destroy the polished image Drew has built, it will expose the falseness behind the moral mask Drew wears in public. Michael doesn't need to speak. He only needs the right moment. And that moment is the nurses' ball. When the lights are bright and the Port Charles community gathers to honor those who give hope. Michael will appear, not with fanfare or declarations, but with a single moment at center stage. The video will play. It won't just show Drew and Willow in a moment of betrayal, it will be damning proof of the corruption of a man once seen as a symbol of rebirth. From that moment on, Drew will have nothing. He'll lose Willow, lose support, lose his standing in the community, and most importantly, lose any chance of redemption. Because Michael isn't here to intimidate, he's here to end. And the end he brings is final, no second chances, no room for forgiveness. Michael understands that his retaliation is not just personal. It's about cleansing his family from the rot of deception so that Wiley doesn't grow up in a world where betrayal is forgiven. That's why Michael's return isn't impulsive. It's a clear declaration. What Drew did cannot be overlooked. The pain he caused must have consequences. Michael doesn't need Drew's apology. He doesn't need anyone to justify him. He only needs the final scene, Drew watching everything collapse, and Port Charles witnessing who the true threat was all along. And who has risen from the wreckage to reshape the world on his own terms. Amid everything, the most shocking thing is Michael's calm. He doesn't scream. He doesn't grandstand. He is quiet, cold, and certain, like a sentence already signed, waiting to be executed. And when that day comes, Drew will have nowhere to run. No spotlight bright enough to hide the truth. No one left to save him. Only Michael, no longer a victim, but the one who ends it all with the very hands that were once betrayed. Michael and Drew's head-on confrontation becomes inevitable. Between them, harsh, cold words are exchanged, heavy with disappointment and fury, igniting a dramatic showdown where there's no room left for kinship or compassion. Michael, eyes like ice and voice tightly restrained, interrogates every decision, every word, every choice Drew made during his absence. He no longer hides behind a calm or kind facade. He wears his pain openly, not as weakness, but as the edge of someone betrayed by the one he trusted most, and now has nothing left to lose. Drew, trying to stay composed, can't fully hide his dismay as Michael peels back every misstep, from betraying his trust by sleeping with Willow, to building secret political networks with the Corinthos name. Michael doesn't need to raise his voice. Every word he speaks cuts like a blade through the false persona Drew has been wearing. Drew fights back with smooth arguments, but the more he talks, the clearer his fear and confusion become. Because even he knows, Michael is no longer a naive kid. He stands at the heart of a growing alliance poised to bring Drew down. And that alliance isn't a rumor. Tracy has quietly returned, standing behind Michael, armed with files, financial records, and a fierce resolve that Drew no longer deserves his power in the family. She hasn't forgotten the past, and she won't forgive those who manipulate trust for influence. Jason, who tried to stay neutral, is now stepping off the sidelines, realizing that without action,
everything he once defended will be distorted and used by Drew. The alliance of Michael, Tracy, and Jason isn't just family, it's a political machine.
And it's getting straight for the core of Drew's power. Michael's shift is now undeniable, no longer hiding behind the curtain, he's out front, using every resource to apply pressure, driving Drew into a corner with no escape. The mess Drew tried to keep hidden begins to surface: murky finances, questionable political connections, and self-serving decisions masked as public service. The more Drew is pushed, the more ground he loses. His future dims as former allies turn away and Port Charles grows more skeptical and disappointed. Michael doesn't rush the attack. He lets Drew expose himself, trying to protect the unprotectable. Drew's obsession with maintaining a clean image makes him easy to manipulate, falling right into the trap Michael, with help from Tracy and Jason, had set long ago. And as the ground beneath Drew begins to shake, he realizes things have spiraled far beyond what he ever imagined, too far for recovery, too far for negotiation, and certainly too far for redemption. The confrontation between Michael and Drew is no longer a personal betrayal. It is a battle for truth, power, and trust. Michael is proving he doesn't need violence or threats. He only needs the truth to come out at the right moment, and the wounded to rise, unite, and act. Drew isn't facing one man. He's facing an entire generation demanding justice. And when the storm hits, no one, not even Drew, can stop it. Michael is reaching a point of no return, a cold, decisive, and unforgiving choice. To remove Willow entirely from his life. After all the pain, the betrayal, and the failed attempts at forgiveness that only led to deeper wounds. Michael understands there is no reason to hold on to a bond that has rotted from the roots. The love they once shared is now just an unhealed wound. And the trust he built with his whole heart has been drained, replaced with a new obsession, honor, protecting his children, and a future where Willow has no place.
But Michael is not just saying goodbye to a woman. He's stepping into the most brutal legal and emotional battle of his life, centered not on himself or Willow, but on Wiley and Amelia. Willow,
though hurt, refuses to be erased. She never believed Michael would cut her off completely. She never imagined he could be so cold, denying every memory, every effort they once made. And that shock fuels her fight, using every means at her disposal to retain her bond with the children, including legal action, media manipulation, and even leveraging her medical reputation as a veiled threat. Michael knows, once the custody battle begins, there is no room for sympathy or ambiguity. He launches a precise and relentless campaign. Guided by not only the best legal minds but also Tracy, Jason, and even Diane. He gathers evidence, documentation, testimonies, even videos showing Willow's mental instability during her affair with Drew, her absences from Wiley's life, and her questionable medical decisions concerning Amelia. Michael leaves no gaps, because this time, he fights not for pride, but for the future of the two children who are his reason for not collapsing. Meanwhile, Willow, cornered, becomes increasingly unstable, grieving over losing Michael, panicking over the possible loss of Wiley and Amelia. She reaches out to Drew, but he's losing control, his reputation, his career, his influence, and he no longer has the power to protect her. Willow is left alone, desperate, leading her to rash actions, attempting to take the kids out of Port Charles, leaking private information to the press to sway public opinion and pressure the court and Michael. But Michael stands firm. He knows every move Willow will make. Every step she takes has already been accounted for on the board he set up. His transformation doesn't come from anger, it comes from a new understanding, sometimes. To protect the future of your children, you have to destroy the past, even if that past was once your whole world. He no longer looks at Willow with resentment, but with the clarity of necessary separation. She is no longer the mother fit to lead their children down the safest and healthiest path. Port Charles begins to witness the escalation of this war. The media picks up the story. Even those once in Willow's corner start to question her. Secrets she once hid, her cult ties,
her neglect of her own treatment, her mental instability after Harmony's death, now come into the public eye. Michael, though saddened to expose old wounds,
does it anyway, because silence now would mean handing his children to someone unworthy. This fight isn't just about custody, it's about reclaiming control over his own future. Michael, once too soft for the sake of family, now knows that sometimes, you have to rebuild everything from ashes, with steel and conviction. In his eyes, Willow is no longer the woman he once loved, but someone who lost everything that once made her worthy. And when the final verdict is delivered, when the court grants Michael full custody, when the courtroom door closes behind Willow, Port Charles will know, Michael is no longer the man behind the scenes. He is the one who stepped forward, ready to break everything necessary to protect what matters most, his children, and a future free from the shadows of betrayal.